always gotta wait for the message. But hello everybody, at Esh, Adriana Soyana Shek, Uzlafana Mishlenki, Ani Bashashin, Tadeshkishin Dash Take, Oga Dashnella. Hi everybody, my name is Adriana So, and I am Navajo from Gallup, New Mexico. I am the Many Goats clan, born for the Towering House people. And welcome to the third day of this Go to College series. Again, this series is for students who are just trying to get ready for college. You know, it's all about college readiness, your first steps to college prep, and everybody and anybody's invited. I know this is hosted by the First Year Experience program, but this is open for anybody who's in the space right now who wants to just kind of get back into the academic mindset before the craziness of the academic year starts again. So, but yeah, I am a college success coach with the American Indian College Fund, but I also run the First Year Experience program, which is a year-long program all about supporting students who are going into their first year of college, whether that's traditional students who are going from high school to college directly, or even non-traditional students as well who might not have had that same scenario, maybe worked first or took a couple of years off or did a break or didn't work for them the first time. But anybody who just needs a refresher as well, or just a little additional support in college, is definitely welcome to attend these sessions. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a really awesome lineup today. So just again, before we get started, let's do a little bit of an icebreaker. Everybody, you can just type it in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? What is your tribal affiliation? Shout yourself out. And then in one word, what does community mean to you? So this kind of falls in line with what we're going to be talking about today.
Request to use a computer lab. Put a request of which Star Wars probably review. IT meeting room classroom and also the on.
Hi, Marina. Welcome. Hello, Clay. Empathy, that's a good word. Community to me means connection. Yes, definitely. Community means unity to me. Yes, love it. Community means home. Yeah, that's a really good one as well. To me, I would say definitely home or healing sometimes, coming back and just being able to hear like your mother language as well. Like for me, Navajo, coming back home to the reservation and just hearing somebody say Shiaja or something, like that heals me. Community is love, definitely. Acceptance to me personally, yes. Means helping my people, definitely. Involvement, yep. Awesome. Thanks for all the suggestions for all the comments in the comment section. Building relationships with friends and family. Yes. Connections to people. Yes. Awesome. I love the answers in the comments. Thanks, y'all. And if you don't get a chance to, you can always, continue to have these conversations as well. And we always encourage, all the involvement and engagement in this comment sections as well. So if there's anything in this session that, resonates with you or you want to comment on, feel free to put it in the chat as well. Questions, we'll, try to hold those off for after the presentation, but if anything, you can always put that in the comments and we'll get back to it. And then we also have these really cool, like, emojis here as well that you can utilize. And I know they have like a happy face, a clapping emoji, a heart, a thumbs up maybe, so you can always utilize those as well. So again, like I mentioned, we are in week 1 and we're at the end of week 1 with the Creating Connections on Campus. This is going to be a panel that I'm really excited to have y'all here for. We have some really awesome students here, and then later on today at 4 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, we're going to be having a social, basically. So it's going to be called What's on Your Mind, and it's just going to be a space, to come. You don't have to register anything. You just kind of click on the link and show up, but just a space for you to come and maybe, reflect on what we talked about this past week. If there's anything that really stuck out to you, really inspired you, if there's any questions that you might have or anything. So, we're going to be having that. If you can, please feel free to come out. It's going to be real casual as well, just to kind of get to know each other as well. And then, of course, we do have prizes. So the more sessions that you attend, the bigger the prizes are going to get. And the way that you're going to punch your ticket in to get the event or to get into the door prizes is to fill out the event evaluation. So I know some of y'all have been really good about doing those right after the session. So that's awesome. So if you attend 1 session, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card. If you attend 2 sessions, you'll be entered to win Sony wireless headphones. If you attend 3 sessions, you'll be entered to win an Amazon Fire tablet. And then if you attend 4 or more sessions, you'll be entered to win a laptop. So again, the biggest way for you to, or the only way for you to punch your ticket into those door prizes is to fill out the event evaluations after each session. So please keep that in mind. And then we share that link after each session as well. So yeah, without further ado, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to our panel here. So let me just introduce everybody real quick, but then they'll go into, you know, their own traditional or their own like introductions. I don't know what I'm saying. It's hot, so but we have one of our College Fund employees here, Anna Marie Stevens, who is the program administrator for the Career Readiness and Employment Department with the American Indian College Fund, and she's from Optum. We also have Clay Begay, who is an agribusiness and management student at the University of Arizona and is representing the Diné Nation, the Navajo Nation. And then we have Winona Little Owl Ignacio, who is a Juris Doctorate candidate at the University of Arizona and who is Lakota and Kona Optum as well. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on over to you, Anna Marie.
Okay, let me pull up my slide. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see some familiar faces in the crowd. I am excited to share this with everybody. We worked really hard on getting this done with Nona and Clay. Once again, thank you for being here, and it's really nice to read where you're all from, where you're logging in from, where you go to school. And we'll get started shortly. Sorry, we were reviewing our slides before the presentation. So just give me a second. Okay, so we want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for your time for being here. And our presentation is creating connections on a campus, on a university campus. And throughout this presentation, I am sharing photos about from my homeland. I am from the Tohono O'odham Nation, and I do want to sharing a lot of landscapes that you had seen. So move into our introductions. Sutash, Anibajigig Anna Marie Stevens. Like Adriana mentioned, I am the program administrator for career readiness and employment from American Indian College Fund. I have been with the program since January 9th. Prior to that, I used to work for Tohono O'odham Community College as a transition coordinator for 4 years, and I overseen a couple of programs. One was called A Student's Journey, which I got to know Nona and Clay from this program, which focused a lot on increasing the number of students attaining a bachelor's degree. And they'll tell you a little bit more about that program later, but just a little bit background. And then I also work really closely with American Indian College Fund on a grant for digitization and looking at how we provide career and readiness and working with local high schools, working with our alumni and our current students. So it was a great experience. I was a little bit sad to leave, but I do enjoy my experience here at American Indian College Fund. Sorry about that. I am from the district of Jikutguk. The Tohono O'odham Nation is broken up into 11 districts, and I'm from Jikutguk. I belong to the community of Bakalodi. I do share that I am a first generation college student. My parents didn't go to college. I did have a bachelor's degree from the University of Arizona in interdisciplinary studies. And I do have a master's degree from Northern Arizona with educational leadership with the focus of community college. And I've been sitting on our school board for a couple of years. I think it's been since 2019. And I got started with that basically with the support of a grassroots organization that I belong to. It's called Invisible Tohono, and we focus on civic engagement. And one of the things they did was encourage us to, you know, get involved and be in the community. I think one of the things that I realized when I joined this program was that I wasn't paying attention to a lot of things that were happening in our community. Also, when I joined this, it just made me more aware of what was going on. I do like to share that I've been in higher education for over 20 years in different capacity, working with our tribe scholarship program, also to TOCC in different capacities and different jobs, and then also currently with American Indian College Fund. I'm going to turn it over to Clay and Nona to take their time to introduce themselves. Okay.
All right, thank you, Anna. Jag är Shea Brian Bigay Inishia. She initially said this gives me Bashichin, Tatna Sani Dashiche, Chishe Dashanella, Tonanes Dizade Nasha, Skook Dash, Ani Anubjik Clay Bigay. Hello, guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Clay Bigay. Introduce myself in my native language of Navajo and Tana O'odham. I do that because I graduated from Tana O'odham Community College with the Associate of Art in Computer Information Systems. And I think it's pretty important that we, still speak our language, whether it's Navajo or whatever, just so we know that we still create these spaces for all of you to feel welcome. So I appreciate you all joining us. I'm currently a student at the University of Arizona's W.A. Franke Honors College. I am studying agricultural economics and management. And a little about me, I like to run, I like to read, and I love to cook. So that's something I enjoy doing on my downtime. But college life, I'm not so much of a cook, especially when it's just for me. I'm not too big on cooking on that. So thank you all for joining us, and I want to pass it over to Nona.
Skikdash Aniat Chikunala Ignacio, Kachanku, Wiakbawi Hamacha, Ina Abel Ignacio, Chiab, Ade Denigi in a Chiab, Oyanke wa Ian Wasaha, Imacha, Na Yukash, Wana, Oyanke Watana Atame Apiki, Elwati, Otkohe, what Jikshan Apiki, Elwati. Hi everybody, good day. My name is Manola Ignacio. And I introduced myself in O'odham and Lakota. My mother is April Ignacio. My dad is Denny Gayton. I have one older sister, Passion Ignacio, and then I have 6 younger brothers. They are Hepana, Micah, Vine, Trudell, and Thorpe Ignacio, our lively little brothers. I am now a second-year Juris Doctorate candidate. And I work right now I work for the Indigenous Resilience Center within the Waverly Street Foundation. It focuses a lot on community, which is like what I'm really big on. And yeah, I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that information. So I also want to share that I selected Clay and Nona because they are living the experience of being in college, and I share my experience, but that was a couple of years ago. So the reason I share my experience, it leads me into why I'm in higher education and why I enjoy working with students. So I like I did mention, I attended the University of Arizona and I got my bachelor's degree. This is a photo I have of myself during my graduation, and you can tell I am not happy. I do tell people this, it was a struggle. It was a struggle being at the University of Arizona. One, I thought I was quite prepared for being on campus. However, when I got there, it was rude awakening that I was not prepared. I did horrible my first semester at the University of Arizona. A lot of it was because I was commuting. I wasn't spending enough time focusing on my classes, and I had to figure out what worked for me. And one thing was that I had to move to Tucson. So I moved to Tucson with half of my family, and half of my family stayed with my husband. And that was also a challenge of just trying to live apart. I had just had my son, and he was probably like 6 months at that time. And when I went back to school, and that was hard to leave him behind, but I knew that it would be something beneficial for myself. But while there, when I realized that I wasn't doing great and that I wasn't passing, I knew where resources were because of my previous employment. I knew who to talk to when I went to our Nation Scholarship Fund, what to ask for. And the only thing I did not know is I didn't know the system of the University of Arizona, and I didn't have a lot of people who I could reach out to. And I kept thinking about students who are young and are first going through this experience. And I often think of like, this is what leads to those students leaving campus because one, they don't have somebody there to help advocate for them. And two, it does get overwhelming and the struggle definitely is hard to go through it alone. So once this happened to me, I started having conversations with people who are following me from TOCC on how can we support other Autumn that are coming to campus. And we started having discussions of creating a group, particularly for Thana Autumn students to feel like we can be a resource for them and guiding them through their process. And that was done and which formulated the Club TOSA, which I think the students are currently involved in. And it was really helpful for students to come to us and share information, get to know other people. It also became a place for to make those connections on campus. Another area that was really helpful for me in regards to creating connections on campus was the ITEP was similar to ITEP. It was called Project Native. It's for teachers, and TOCC had this grant program, and they had a couple of staff that were on campus, which made me feel so much comfortable because when I did try to attend stuff at NASA, I definitely felt out of place because I was a lot older. There was a lot of younger people there. I just didn't feel like I fit in. So I spent a lot of time with the teacher program, and a lot of those women were older, and I felt more comfortable in that space. So that became my connection to campus. Moving forward, I was sharing with other people that on the day of my graduation, I didn't know I was going to graduate until that Wednesday before graduation. And I found out I was going to graduate. However, my husband didn't get paid till Friday. He didn't get paid till after 5. I couldn't pick up my gown until the next morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. So this is me after I picked up my gown and I was stressed out because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to my graduation. I have to be here. You have to be there. And I was just so ready to graduate. I can't tell you the number of times I wanted to quit. I also was frustrated because financially I was struggling. There were so many things that were going into this, but I like to share this photo because it shares a difference. And this is why I share this photo is because when I got my master's degree, I was working. I did it with a cohort of students. I was supported by my supervisor. We got educational leave. We were given a stipend. And it was a totally different environment from being in my bachelor's degree where I had to find spaces for myself to fit in. I didn't feel supported because I felt like I was constantly struggling, worrying about money. And when in comparison to getting my master's degree, all those things were not on my plate. And the experience was so much more enjoyable. And my GPA was a whole lot higher in comparison to when I finished my bachelor's degree. And I share this with you because I want to make sure that students never have to kind of go through that information, or at least we provide a better path for those students that are following us, and how can we be a resource for those students moving forward. So these are a couple of things that I have pointed out as far as creating a community on your campus. It's really important to create that community, especially for Native students. I've worked with students for a number of years, and these are things that I see that students lack when they are transferring over or they're starting in college, and they just have a hard time struggling with some of these areas. I'm not going to go over every single one of them because of time, but I do want to make sure that you think about some of these areas in regards to how it can be helpful for you. One, if you're a younger student, if you're still in high school or you're barely going to get started, one of the biggest things is to try to attend a summer bridge program or a jumpstart program, because that gives you the opportunity to get to familiar with the campus. You get to know about the resources on campus, and you also just learn the ins and outs of what's expected of you. And then you also get to meet other students who are on campus. when I say get familiar with campus, I say this because I would say get your class schedule, go to campus, walk your campus and figure out where your classes are being held, how long it takes you to walk there, finding out where you're going to want to study or the library is, or if you have to go to a computer lab, anything like that. Those things are really important. And I share this with you because when I went to the University of Arizona, I kept walking by this area and kept saying, this is where my building was at. And I was like, I don't see it. I don't see where this building's at. It's not around here. I missed my first day of class because I could not find the class. And I come to find out that class was underground and I had no idea. So I always tell people that those are important things to share. Attend your orientation. If there is an orientation for your degree program, please attend it. Attend orientation online, attend orientation in person. Those things are very helpful for students getting familiar with their campus. And you also get to meet people who are studying similar programs as you or might have the same interests as you. So those things actually help. I highly encourage you to attend welcome events. Welcome events are a place where they invite all students to come to campus. They provide information about clubs on campus, about different programs that you can join, also about resources that may be available to you. One of the biggest things I'm going to share is that make sure you connect with your Native American Resource Center on campus. Majority of these, especially for larger universities, they should have a Native American Resource Center. This can be your home away from home. This is a place where they can provide support. The students are going to go into some things that happen within their friend groups or with themselves and how the Native Resource Center was a place for them to go. Also, I would, like I had mentioned, joining a club or an organization, it just helps you create that community. And that community makes you start feeling like this is a safe place to be. So I highly encourage you to join a club, some kind of organization. Another thing is going to office hours. If you get to know your counselor or your instructor, and on a one-to-one basis, that's just going to help you out. So like if you have issues, you can, and if you have that rapport with them, you can go to them and say, hey, this is happening in my life. They're more likely to be like, oh, okay, I know who you are. You're a familiar face. I understand. And they can also give you some tips about passing your course, also give you like ideas of how to get homework done, just different things like that. Those are really helpful. And also meeting with your advisor. Meeting with your advisor is somebody who is gonna, and I would say try to do this more than once a semester, just so that you get to know who they are and they can be helpful to you as far as like in regards to if you need any resources or maybe you need to drop a course or you need to take an additional course. Eventually, those are somebody who's going to be helping you. Huge thing, I think, is just getting to know people that you're spending time with in your classrooms. If you're living in a dorm, getting to know your roommates, attending your dorm community events. Those are things that are important. And also just joining some kind of social media group so that you can see when events are happening. And so I had mentioned that I have known Nona and Clay for a while. I think they are a great resource. They both bring different perspectives to this presentation. Clay is a non-traditional student who started later on. And then Nona is a student who started from straight out of high school. They both attended Thanato Community College, a tribal college, and then they transferred over to the University of Arizona. But they are in different fields, but they did bring a very unique perspective to the presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and we're going to start our panel discussion. So what is one thing that helped you with your first year of college to get connected? Okay.
So, sorry. For me, we'll go into it a little bit more later, but like Anna Marie said, I was part of a transfer program, a student's journey. But through that program, I got to learn about different programs offered by the university. So one of them, kind of depicting this picture here, was I got introduced to Key. It's basically like the native wing for like the native students at the University of Arizona. And so it's basically just like we got like a whole dorm level just to us, and you're paired up with a native roommate. And it's really cool. And so it's in this dorm, Yavapai, and with that they do like a lot of different programming and different activities for you. And because it is the native dorm, it's connected to the native center on campus, and they reach out to different clubs and different donors, and they'll come. Like I remember we did like a Christmas party and a Halloween party, which was really fun. So that was like one way I kind of got connected. One thing about me was so when I transferred to the U of A, it was during COVID, fall 2021, the university kind of just started going back to in-person classes. And one of my brothers, he's immunocompromised. I was very scared. I did not leave my dorm at all the first semester. Um, I was too scared. The only time I left was to go to my in-person classes, but that was about it. And so I was very much sequestered in my dorm the first semester. And what brought like the only time I would like feels like safe enough to go out was when Autumn Key would have like their little dorm parties or whatever, and it was hosted by, just like the different native clubs. And so I was like, oh, okay. And it was nice because I got to like meet other people that way. So that was really cool. And then my second semester, this is when because of the connections that I made through campus and then just being in the student journey program, I was able to start working at NASA, which is our Native Center, the Native American Student Affairs. And that was really cool. I got to be a part of a lot of different programs, as we'll talk about. But also with the Students Journey program, part of our requirements was that we had to do a practicum. My practicum was working with the Regents Professor Ophelia Zepeda here at the U of A. And I worked with her from the spring until the end of the summer. And this is just a picture. So one of the things that she started was that she wanted all the signs on campus to be in Indian, like in a native language. And the first one that was unveiled was her building, and it's the communication building. And it was really cool. So it was really cool. We got to be out there. It was on International Mother Language Day. It was just like nice. We got to unveil it, and then she got to talk about it. And then there was different leaders, tribal leaders and tribal dignitaries from the Thana Atam Nation. And I really like being a part of it. My dad taught me how to talk Indian, and so that's something I hold really close to my heart. And so that's one of the things that Ophelia and I really connected on. And then that last picture is my roommate. She's all passed out in her burrito blanket, and it's me and my cup of coffee. I love coffee, but I was blessed to have a really good roommate. I know that that's kind of scary, but I am so blessed for her. Everything that I kind of been able to do, it wouldn't have started without her. She tried very hard to get me out of my dorm room. She was dragging me by my feet. I would not go to NASA. Eventually I did go, and I got to meet like my cool little friends that way. And I always just shout her out. Her name's Robin, but she is just like the sweetest person ever. She just graduated with her degree in architecture. So proud of her. But yeah, I owe it all to her, and I'm just so glad that I got a really good roommate. It's very scary. You never know like who you get, especially just because like, oh, you're going to a big university. You just never know. But yeah, always just shout her out. Always appreciate her. But I'll turn it over to Clay.
Awesome. Thank you, Nona. So for me, I think what really helped me, again, like Nona was saying, is the Students Journey program. It really solidify a network for us here on campus. And I went off of that, just being able to talk with different individuals from that program and being introduced to different directors and different students that are well-versed in what life is like as a Native student at a big institution like the University of Arizona. So it's great to get out there, put yourselves in positions that you didn't think that you could do. And again, like Anna Marie said, am a non-traditional student. I started out late, and I think for my first year, my sister was a big help for this. She really inspired me to continue with my education. And one thing that really stuck with me is she told me that you're not going to really have a social life. You're not really going to get out there and visit with family and friends like you used to. So I missed one of my best friend's wedding this past fall because school was so important. And you have homework, you have lectures, you have supplemental lectures that help your work that you're studying for your classes. And she told me that I'm going to really have to make some tough decisions and start to build boundaries around myself because you're really going to do this for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be up to us to really start and finish just 4-year degree that we're at. And she she's a civil engineer. She graduated from NAU 20 years ago. So she was a native woman in STEM. That can be challenging just about anywhere. So she understood the challenges that I knew I'd find myself in. And she guided me through working homework. There were days that I did feel like I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm able to push through this. But again, campuses, you really have to tap into those resources. I tapped into the Bartlett Center. It's a place where you go for tutoring the majority of the time. It's free. And I believe they also do one-on-one tutoring, and that can vary from price, but when I did it, it was like $20 an hour, and that helps a lot. I believe working with the Bartlett Center really helped me my first semester because you're taking these classes where you have 300-400 students and you're trying to say, hey, I have a question, or I have certain concerns about myself. So just advocating for yourself, going to office hours, meeting with your professor, talking with many of the clubs that you join. So I believe those were instrumental in me going through my first year at the University of Arizona.
Thank you, Clay and Nona, for sharing that information. So the next question is there a difference between the community at a PCU and from a larger university?
I believe there is. I know maybe some of you are tribal college students at a tribal college anywhere in the States. We know that for Tohono O'odham Community College, they have the HIMDA core values, and those are something that they really instill in the curriculum. And that's something I believe Tohono O'odham and U of A are trying to work with. Like, has my colleague mentioned how Professor Zepeda, they revealed a sign that had O'odham. And I think that's something we are trying to carry on over and have that rippling effect of community. And it looks different specifically for Native American because we're always willing to lend a hand, help each other, say, hey, this is what's going on. What can we do to make your courses better? What can we do to make you feel like home? And I know they mentioned this before, but do go to your Native American resource centers online on campus, because they are going to be a pillar of support when you're trying to understand your financial scholarships. You're trying to understand when the last day to drop a class without getting a W. And, there's so many things that you're going to have to learn. And again, building that community with your peers as well as the Native American centers at your colleges. So I think that'd be something important. And I believe that's something campuses across the United States are working on. And I hope that we can continue on with that.
Same question for you, Nona.
Obviously not gonna reinvent the wheel. So Clay summed it up really nicely. Just building off of that, it really does help going to your native center, no matter how scary it may be. You may not want to, and yeah, it's really nerve-wracking because everybody's gonna look at you when you walk in, but that's just who we are as natives. Like, we're nosy, like we just want to know, like, who's that? Like, do you know who that is? And then like trying to figure out like what kind of native you are, but it's fine once you get that first walkthrough down. I'm just so thankful for our native center. I think just the difference is just from a TCU, coming from TOCC, it's already there. Like, you're at a tribal college. It's, most of the time, most of the students in the classes, they are natives too. So you don't ever have to worry about certain things that you have to worry about at a regular university. I think just small but key differences, like, you can't go around calling people ugly at the university if they aren't native, because I did that and I recently did that forgetting. And one of my classmates was like really upset. They're like, "Did you just call me ugly?" I was like, "No, I didn't call you ugly. Yes, I did, but I didn't. Not how you." And then I ended up just like, pulling myself away from the conversation. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go do my group work by myself. So, but yeah, so it's just having to go out and seek it. But yeah, just reiterating what Clay said, it's really cool what you're able to do once you go out there and do it.
Thank you. That's a funny story, Nona. Um, did you take advantage of any programs that helped you transition into college? I know both of you took part of a student's journey, but I know you have more to share about that experience.
Okay, yes, we did. A student's journey program. I cannot help highlight this program enough. It's helped me land so many opportunities with other internships, other traveling around the country with conferences. It's been nothing but a plethora of opportunity. And I think that we just mentioned with the student's journey, it also helps you get into other programs that help you transition from even a university undergraduate level to a grad school. And last summer, I went to the University of Minnesota's St. Anthony Falls Laboratory, which is a fluid mechanics research lab in Minneapolis. I was initially a computer science major. That's the other thing I forgot to mention is I used to be a computer science major. So that's what I went to the University of Minnesota to do is study. And this research, it was a National Science Foundation research experiences for undergraduates. And it's highly, highly competitive. And, you're in this space where you have students from Duke University, UCLA, Harvard, and you're this guy from a tribal college, but you very much deserve to be there. I very much had all I could offer to say, yeah, I am a great student. I know what I can offer. And it was nothing but fantastic research experiences and learning a lot about how this research will help me get into graduate school, because a lot of the times when you're applying to these grad schools, they're going to look at, well, what kind of research experience do you have? What else did you do during your summers? And that's something to really think about, not only after high school or as a non-traditional student getting into a four-year institution, but also if you plan to do further, is to look at other programs like an NSF REU that will kind of catapult you into that arena as well.
Same question for you, Nona?
Yeah. I don't have a lot of pictures from when we did a student's journey, or I guess, I don't know, maybe I just couldn't find them. This is a picture of me and my sister. My sister and I did our transfer program together. And I'm really thankful for that. My sister is my best friend. I am just so thankful she was able to do the program with me. I was so scared and I just like kind of stuck behind her. I'm like, yeah, let's go, sis. And she's like, E, get out of here. But I was like, no. Um, but yeah, so I'm so thankful. I did the program with her. But it was just very helpful. It even just, I guess minute, smaller ways, like how Anna was saying, you get your schedule like that has the locations of your campus and go to your classes. I should have did that. I didn't. I just like looked it up on Google Maps like 20 minutes before. I was like, all right, gotta leave in 10 minutes. But it helps in like those small ways of like, okay, well, I know the general area of the layout of the university. I know where to go to here. I know to go here. And then even just something like parking, like you have to pay for parking at the U of A. Like you got to have a permit. And if you don't, you're going to get a ticket. And, worst case, you'll get a boot, But like stuff like that, like it helped like us figure out like, oh, okay, well when we transfer over, we got to think about things like that, like parking, okay, walking to class, and then thankfully the native dorm or the native wing, the dorm it's at Yavapai, it's pretty central on campus, so it's not too far from all your classes. But like just timing that out. But you know, it brought me like a lot of great friends, and then even just the fact that I get to, you know, help out with like the other cohorts. Like I was the one of the RAs for ASJ the year after I did it. And that's how I got to meet everybody in Clay's cohort. And I'm just so thankful that I get to know Clay. And then even the cohort last year, we helped out again. I think we were RAs again. But that was just really fun because it's just, you know, you all want the same thing. You know, we were all transfer students wanting to go to the university, but we're also all Chiefs. Like we just, you know, we get to like just hang out with each other and get to talk about that. And being a transfer student, it is different from just going straight from high school to a university. And so we get to have that experience with each other and just, you know, sometimes there are people who are like are a little weird about transfer students, but like we all know that we're there for each other and we all get to be like, well, I know just as much as you. You are not gonna talk down to me just because like I come from a like you know how Clay was talking about like, oh, like he was a transferred tribal community college student among like all these like what like elite institutions. Like they're not elite, they're just like what they just have like a bunch of white donors behind their name, like that's all it is. And our knowledge is like way more than they could ever encapsulate, so it's nice we get to share that with each other. So that's what I have to say about that.
Well put, Nona. Thank you for sharing that. The next question is, how did other scholars help you navigate resources offered to Native students?
Okay, like I was mentioning earlier, I was initially a computer science major, and I found myself struggling with trying to decide, like, is this right for me? Do I want to continue this? So I really had to take inventory of my cerebral wardrobe, if you will, and try to find out what it is and what I really want to do. Do I really want to sit there looking at lines and lines of code? Do I want to learn machine learning engineering? Those are kind of thoughts that were going through my mind as I was trying to decide if I wanted to continue on with a computer science degree, as well as I was studying economics. And I found out that as I cast my mind back to my time at A Student's Journey, I was trying to understand how, you know, the broadband infrastructure on the Navajo Nation, it's not where it should be. And I was doing research and trying to understand how that could come about. So what really I was looking at was developing economics. I was trying to understand how you can sustain and develop an economy. So that's how I got into that, through going to the Bartlett Center, which is a place on campus where they talk with you and they advise you and say that's okay if you want to change your major. Because a lot of my understanding was that no, it's not okay. Like I have to do this. This is what I'm going to do, is study computer science. But then more and more I pursued it, I just wasn't interested. So I was grateful for NASA. I was also grateful for a lot of other advisors on campus that kind of steered me to the right direction, as well as Anna Marie. She and I have plenty of conversations just saying, you know, this is something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to learn how to navigate how I can move to a different major without feeling bad, because that's how I felt. I felt incredibly um, impotent and upset at myself because these were promises and things I told my family I was going to do. I think that was the scariest part, was telling my family to change my major, because a lot of them are in the STEM field and the engineering field. So I guess I think I was probably trying to impress them, because I just was like, hey, I'm doing this, and they're like, yeah, good job, good job. And now I'm like, I'm changing my major. And of course they were receptive to it. They helped me understand it. So again, building that network on campus, looking at those resources, trying to find out if your colleges, wherever you're going to, if they have that. I'm pretty sure they do. And you just say, hey, I'm here, I'm struggling. how can you help me? And that's how I moved forward and was able to utilize those resources as a native student on campus.
Thanks, Blake, for sharing that information. Okay, Nona, same question?
Um, sorry, it was resources, navigating resources on campus.
Native, like native scholars help you in that process.
Oh. Yeah, just going back, like I stated earlier, I did not come out of my dorm room, but because of the people that we were introduced to during the ASJ program, I knew who to go to when like I had to like call it quits and be like, okay, like I am not doing well, I need help, and I know who I can go to. And so I actually went to she's not there anymore, but her name is Denise. And I just went to her office. I talked to her before the fall semester ended. But because and it's really cool because with the ASJ program, you do a showcase at the end, just displaying like all the work that you've done through the past 5, 6 weeks. And her and another NASA staff member were there. And I was just and she said that she was like, no, I know what kind of person you are, but I remember your presentation. I know how close that you hold a lot of these values to your heart. And it's always scary because whenever you're showcasing something that you really like, you're being vulnerable. You're showing something that's like a really close to your heart. And so for her to remember that, it was very touching. I like almost went back, like when I went back to my dorm room, I almost just like started crying. So I was like, wow, she remembered that, especially because in my presentation for ASJ, I was talking Indian and it was showing these different videos.
Um, sorry, Anne, can you, oh, thank you, Anne. Okay,
Sorry. There were it's just different videos of me talking Indian. There's one of like with Anna Marie, there's one with like our other colleagues here at the U of A. But for me, that's like being very vulnerable because, sometimes it still feels weird. Sometimes I used to get made fun of when I was little, like for being like too traditional. And so I kind of carry that with me. I'm like, oh, I don't want to like show people that I can talk Indian. Like I don't want to get made fun of or like be put in that box of like, oh, like she thinks she's better than everyone else. Like, no, I don't. I just really like talking Indian. And so it's really cool that she remembered that. And she's like, and I'm really excited to learn more about you as a person, like, and I want to help you. And then so it was really cool to be able to do that. And then part of the I guess it's just a picture, but it's just the crown dancers. They came to the U of A and it was like through one of our student clubs that we got to, which we'll talk about later. But it was nice because, because of all the resources, all the people introduced to us at ASJ, like that picture, like I got to be a part of that. And, we have like a mall at the U of A. And, when classes let out, everybody's there. Like there's all these people, like it's not, it's predominantly white institution. There's a lot of little white kids running around. And so it was really cool because you hear their bells like coming down the mall and it's like them in like all their gear and like there's all these like little Minigon kids like what the hell is happening right now? Who are these people? But it's like, hell yeah, we're still here and we're gonna scare you while we're at it. So I just like it's a good picture. So yeah.
thanks for sharing that. I know we talked about this earlier too. You talked about clubs and organizations, and how did they help you establish a sense of belonging on your campus?
Yeah, so for me, I joined as a transfer student. The Frankie Honors College, they have a transfer advisory board of students. They just kind of bring in students who are non-traditional transfer students who are trying to find their place on campus. And you get to do a lot of things like clothing drive. We did a clothing drive for students for the campus closet on campus. So any student, any U of A student, faculty or staff, they're able to go to the campus closet if they need any attire for like business wear, a tie, shoe, anything that you may not be easily able to attain. They are there to help you get that, as well as the campus pantry. that has a few other items for people that need on campus, just the basic staples, flour, eggs, milk. Just, those are kind of the areas where we as a club went to go support, just to bring awareness and also to let others know that we're able to advocate for them. And another club I've been a part of was the TOSA Club, the Tana Autumn Student Association, and they've been so hospitable, incredibly welcome from them. I tell them too. I was like, hey, I'm just to let you know, I'm Navajo, but I'm here to help. I have strong connections to Tana Autumn, my brothers and sisters, my relatives there. So they've been instrumental in helping me connect with a lot of other individuals, just like with Nona. She's president of the club, so we kind of work together as well. I know a couple of students are in here as well as Jasmine and Jamie. They were also a part of a student's journey and also have built this network really to help us kind of associate and say, hey, this club is doing this. And looking at social media, I think someone brought that up, is really connect with social media. That way you can say, hey, we're having stew this Friday. We're having, we had recipes one day where they had snow cone pickles, everything that you could think of, just to bring that kind of sense of home to campus. So it's been a real pleasure joining these clubs and building connections with them as well.
Oh, that sounds like fun, Clay. Okay, Nona, same question.
Yes, love clubs. I actually was recruited by Indigicats first and then TOSA. But I joined the Indigicat Student Association. So Indigicats, we're the group that hosts Indigenous Peoples Day every year at the U of A. And so Trinity is also she's the president of that club. So we just do a lot of planning. It's all student led. It's so cool, like everything that we get to do with it. And we do a lot of collaborative events. And so when I first transferred, Ben Davis, he was the Thana Autumn Student Association president at the time. And then, he graduated and then he was just kind of like, okay, here you go, Nona. This is all you. I was like, oh, all right. Thanks for that. But yeah, so I'm also a part of that club and I am just so incredibly proud to be a part of both clubs and all the things that we get to do. One of the events that Clay mentioned that we got to do is recipes. So that's the photo where he's all cheesing at the camera. And then that's Jamie and Jasmine. And so we got to do Piccadilly's, hot Cheetos and nacho cheese, nachos with the jalapenos. I think, oh yeah, and then we did like the Kool-Aid gummies, it's just like all the red snacks you could think of. And it's just so like, oh, and we did it kind of near like when people were starting to start studying for finals. And so we, Trinity and I, we try to be really intentional about the events that we do and everything. Like it's about creating community on campus because, we are at a predominantly white institution. There are not many spaces for us. And in these clubs, that's the one place that you can walk into and that you belong. And a lot of times, it's hard, like, because you may be like one out of 200 students who is like the only native in the class. Like in my law class, when I first transferred, there was 200 of us, and I think there was only like 3 native students. Like there was not a lot. And so being a part of these clubs, it's like the one place, you get to go, you can be yourself. And also there's free food most of the time at these events. And so that's also a thing. We offer free food at all of our events because, food insecurity is a thing. Like, you're already in college. It's hard enough being there. And, at least that's the one thing that these clubs and the centers can provide is a good meal. But yeah, so it's like little pictures, this is Indigenous Peoples Day. And then it's just really cool when we get to, oh yeah, also another thing is that, so the Thana Autumn Student Association, we do a storytelling event during the winter, every winter. That's something that we started doing. And it's really cool, like from what it's grown. And being part of these events, it brings you back that piece of home. But for us, I remember like, one of our friends, sadly he lost one of his brothers like pretty recently, like within the last 2 years. And the storytellers that we brought, before they started storytelling, they sang songs. And he came up to us afterwards and he was just like, he was like crying like happy tears because he was just like, I haven't heard these songs in so long, and it's been hurtful to like go around, but like hearing that, he's like, I felt my brother here with me tonight, and he was just so happy, like just so happy to be a part of that event. And even like when we do these events too, like, you know, we incorporate like our autumn into it. And so, you know, we had the staples like, you know, red chili, popover, cinnamon tea, squash and cheese. So it's always just about like trying to create home. And so really try to seek out those clubs, because you know, you can even bring that for like, oh, okay, like, you know, that it's gonna have that little piece of home for you.
Also helpful, I think, having the opportunity to create that home away from home is really important. And the next question is, oh, this is going on the video.
So a little bit background. So we did a dance, and so often we have dances called bias, and there's different styles of dance. There's Waida, the two-step, chati, and cumbia. And this was actually our second year bringing back the event. And so this is like with all of our, this was recently, like back in April. And so Clay was a part of this event, Jamie, Jasmine, and it was just really cool because the community came out and it was really big. The first time we did it was last year. And so just seeing how much it's grown from like 1 year and knowing that like, oh, okay, like there's people who are here for you. They may not, you know, be in college, but that greater Native community like surrounding your town, like seeing them come out like that, like, oh, okay, you know, like you're in good hands. So it was just cool. We just wanted to show that it really quick. Clay, that's something that we're really proud of.
Let me play this one.
Yeah, you might catch a glimpse of Miss Native UA in there as well. Jasmine, Jasmine, she's also been a part of the student's journey, so it's a really great program.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. What are areas on your campus that provided a safe haven for you?
Uh, gonna beat it to death, but NASA. So Native American Student Affairs is our Native Center on campus. Always try and seek out your Native Resource Center. A good way to do that is check if you don't have Instagram, get Instagram. You know, it sucks, social media sucks, but that is the way we do things now. And Instagram is just really easy because a lot of the times your native center is going to be posting their events on their Instagram because it's just so easy to utilize and get things out. And so they're going to post a lot of their flyers on there. Different events that we do at NASA. So we're very intentional, right? Because we're in the native center. And so we have a I think we just call it the welcome back ceremony. But we have one of our traditional people. He is Thana Atam and Paskoyaki. But he'll come and he'll do a blessing. He'll bless all of us, and it's just a good way to start the semester. And then we all go back to NASA and we all have breakfast burros. And then there's different event programming that we do throughout the semester. But it also connects you with other students. It's how I met some of my other friends too as well. Um, blanking, but yeah, it's so fun. There's just different programs you get to be a part of, and that's how I've like got to like meet a lot of these guys. Trinity, you know, like I don't know, my comrade, my companion, like other half, I don't know. Um, but we just get to do a lot of cool stuff. Like we have a Native Week during Native American Heritage Month, and so we end off the week with like dressing traditional. So it's really cool. You get to see everybody like all in their native drip. You know, all the Navajos in their turquoise bling, all the Otham dripped out in their shells. Like it's so cool. You get to see like the pretty ribbon skirts and then the mocks and whatnot. It's so cool. Um, and then at our university, they did for Otham Sister Tribes like land acknowledgement football game. So that was really cool getting to see that the four Otham tribes like come out onto the field I think they sang the Running Man song. I think Anna Marie's son was a part of that. That was really fun. And then also we just get asked to be a part of a lot of different events. So there was this thing called World Fest. It was hosted by another BIPOC center. It was called the Common Ground Alliance. It was really cool. It was just different clubs, different BIPOC clubs got to come out and just like one showcase like what we do. So like getting us out there, you know. But we also got to like serve like a food, I guess. And so we got to serve popovers and they were just like, you know, plain sweet or just by themselves. So it was really fun. And then this was a picture from our first storytelling. We got to bring Mikey Enos. He's from Sanavir. That was really cool. Just because, you know, we were coming back from like a lot of different stuff during this year. And this event brought out, I think, over 40 people. And we like, there's 3 different main rooms in NASA. And the first room, you know, it's kind of big, but it's not huge. We packed 40 people in there. But it was really cool because we just got to hear so many of the different community members, students, and whatnot come up to us and say, um, how much they appreciated being a part of it and just getting to hear it. Also, because there are, you know, there are different natives here. And so they're not able to go home, right? And so we also are very intentional about like, okay, well, like we can bring home here. And so many of the students were just like, they really needed to hear that and just know. And I think Mikey, he was very intentional about like stating what he said and just saying like it's okay to go home, but it's okay to be here, you know, home's always going to be there. And so it's just so magical, everything that we get to do at this center. So beating it to death, but you know, seek out your Native Resource Center.
Yes, it's important. Like,
Well, I know what a safe haven may look different for many of us. You know, again, what Nona was mentioning, the Native American Student Affairs Center. For me, my safe haven was the library room, the little mini study rooms. It's where I can go to focus. There's literally just a wall, a desk, a whiteboard, and I close that door and I just work, work, work. And that to me was my safe haven. And anytime someone was like, "Hey, are you on campus?" I am, but I'm at the library. And that's kind of when I'm like, I don't want to be bothered. So that's my safe haven. And as well as the Honors Village, they have some pretty different areas of where you can study, hide out. There's actually a little known lobby there that's kind of in the back. Nobody goes to. That's where I go to like go to sleep. Well, I try to go to sleep, but I take like mini naps back there. And really, it's just, you know, finding your friends, finding faculty, finding your professors, building that relationship with them, going to their office hours, just talking about other subjects than just what you're studying. Because a lot of them do want to make that connection. They want to know why you're studying and what really drives you for that class. And I think that's something important as you're trying to find your safe haven within these mentors you're searching out, because they're going to be there when you need a letter of recommendation. They're going to have to be there for you when you want to show your poster, present all sorts of information. So I think finding a safe haven within a mentor or a library study room is pretty important for you. So yeah, and those are just pictures of me. And I think the one on the top left is the land acknowledgement in Octum. It's something Professor Zepeda worked on, and that's at the Center for Photography, I believe, on campus. So a lot of her work is displayed there as well. So it's just finding out what you deem like home is to you. It could be food, it could be friends, it could be a library study room. So just being able to do that.
yep, you all bring up some really great points. I think getting involved is definitely something that helps you feel like it brings that sense of home when you're around other natives, but also finding a place that can help you study. Because I want to say when I was at the University of Arizona, the library was my place. It was my place just to focus on what needed to get done. And because I had children, I was like, this is my time. I'm here from this time, so I need to study. So thank you for sharing that. Our next question, oh, actually, that's our last question. I don't know if you guys want to share any other words of advice to people who are in here in our presentation. I'm gonna open it up for you guys to do that.
One small thing just kind of remembered. When you connect with your native center too, just know that if you need help with anything, meet with their directors, their coordinators. We offer a CAPS counselor and she is native too. She's Lakota. Um, but just know whatever problem you are having at the university, like you can go to them about it. They will go to bat for you, and don't ever feel any type of way about. I know it's hard for us to like ask for help as natives because a lot of us like our different situations, our different traumas. Like we're used to just kind of having to like just pushing through. But there are times when you gotta ask for help. Don't ever feel any type of way about asking them for help. They will go to bat for you, and that is part of their job. They would not have a job at the center if it wasn't for you going to there as a student. Like that's who they're there to help. There have been many times when I've like called on Julian and like, it's been with like I've had an issue with professor. There was even like other students who told me they're having issues with their grades and whatnot. And I told them like go to Julian, like he will go to bat for you. Because he is our current director at NASA. And whatever problem you have, and if they don't know the answer, they will do their best to outreach and get that answer for you. So that's another thing. I don't know if you want to say anything, Clay.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know I had a colleague or a peer, she part of the same program, and she was having issues with an email, homework, something wasn't exactly making sense. So I didn't know the answer, but I did say, go to NASA, go to see Julian, go see what they can do to help you, because that's kind of out of my realm of, because it does get tricky when you're looking at the syllabus, they say this thing and you're hearing it in an email, it says something else. And again, advocating for yourself, saying, hey, this is something that doesn't look right, and if they still say no to you, go seek out again to the Native American Center. They will bat for you. They will tell you this is how we can move forward with this and try to fix the issue as soon as possible. So again, thank you, Nona, for sharing that. And no, I don't have anything else to say, but I really hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you all have gotten more questions answered for you, but thank you for allowing us this space.
If anybody has any questions, we'll leave it open. If not, you feel free to welcome to reach out to us. We're here as a resource for you. I'm here for you as working for American Indian College Fund. I also just want to give you a little bit background of the photo that we have. This is the photo of the cohort that Clay was a part of for our student's journey, and Nona was their RA being there. And then we had a couple of cohorts that gone through it. One of the great things about this program was that all these students come back in some kind of capacity to share their experience or even lead presentations. Clay currently works with the program and also has done some presentations for them. Any questions?
I think there was a question in the chat. Let me see. Winona, you mentioned food insecurity, and Clay, you said food can be a safety sometimes. Curious if you have any recommendations on what to do if we're experiencing that. Who or where can we go to on campus to seek help?
So NASA, so again, seeking out your resource center, we have a relationship with the campus pantry. So first seek out if you have a campus pantry on your university. There should be some type of campus pantry. It's usually just, I think you just got to show that you're a student at the university, so it's just like flashing your student ID. And from there they'll show you exactly how theirs works. Ours is like a point system. You get an allotted amount of points every day. And you can just grab whatever you need. They have like the basics: bread, milk, eggs. Sometimes they'll have produce come in. And then just other various stuff that gets donated. With NASA, we have a relationship with them. And so just because we know that there is like a stigma behind, going to campus pantry, we have a mini pantry, like a food area in our center in the kitchen. And campus pantry will come drop off food bags in our center. And so we put it out there for the students. We have milk and eggs in our fridge. So that way, like no questions asked, you get to just walk in, grab whatever you need and go. I don't know if you want to add anything, Clay.
No, I think you covered it quite well as well. I think you also mentioned, Nona, as well as like if you're ever in a predicament, needing funding, I believe they also can help and point you to the right resources. I know food insecurity is a big topic. That's kind of how I got into my agricultural economics major. So it's really nice to see all of this happening. And of course, we don't want any of the students to experience that. So there are things set in place to help alleviate those.
I would also share if you're going to a tribal community college or a community college in general, most places, definitely if you know anybody in student services division, because I worked for student services for a number of years. That was one of our huge things, was to make sure that we provided opportunities for students to eat. But if they were dealing with issues as far as not having funding, how can we be helpful to that? And I think that's really helpful. Another thing is American Indian College Fund. If you are starting your semester, we do if you are a student under our program, we do this thing called I think is it Kickstart, Adriana? Or Early Start?
Jumpstart funding.
Oh, Jumpstart funding. Yeah, that's what it is, funding. I was really impressed with this when I first came in. I was like, oh, we do this. This is amazing. So we have Jumpstart funding for students who are under our program, just to help out with some expenses that you don't have right away. Your scholarship may have not come in yet, or you need, you just need some assistance before the semester starts. Any other questions? No? If not, we just want to thank you for being here today. Thank you to Nona and Clay. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm always gonna promote helping students in any kind of capacity, because that's where I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about working with students. I want to make sure students are able to navigate a system, especially if you're going to a larger university, navigating the university system, because it does take time to learn that. And it took me a while to learn that. And if you provide resources to students, they just do ultimately a lot better, and if you can connect them to other Native communities. So thank you for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Yeah, Anna Marie, Clay, and Winona, thank you so much for sharing your story and your journeys while you were in college, and sharing really valuable piece of advice for everybody here today. So we definitely hope that you all enjoyed that content. So we're almost done. I gotta just share my little spiel, and then we'll send you guys on your way. So that's it for week 1. Thank you all so much for attending the sessions. And again, if you had missed any of the first couple of ones, they are uploaded onto YouTube, as well as this video will be uploaded onto YouTube, so you can always go back to refer it, or then share it out with your network and your peers. But yeah, a lot of really great information about creating those connections on campus. Taking that first step to putting yourself out there, being involved on campus, really trying to utilize if there's some sort of Native resources on campus. If there's not like a Native resource or a club, then get some friends together or find something or do something. You can always create one of those yourself to kind of create the blueprint for all of that. So, but thank you all so much. So next week, let's take a little glimpse of that. So starting on Tuesday at 2 p.m., we'll be starting off with yours truly. And I'll be talking about creating your schedule, understanding credit hours, and time management. And then on Wednesday, we'll have a conferences 101, how to find them and what to expect, with Loyola Rankin, who's also another college success coach, or works with the college success program. That's going to be on Wednesday. If you want to attend that, she'll also have some recommendations on conferences that'll be happening that students can attend as well. So definitely join that if you're interested. And then on Thursday, we have a time change. So we're going to be having our managing stress, learning healthy habits for stress for college. Is going to be at 12 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, excuse me. All these times are going to be in Mountain Daylight Time again. Just say New Mexico time. So, but yeah, all of the registration and everything can be found on our link tree. And then let me just go ahead and post that. So I did post in the chat if there's for different ways to follow us or get any updates or to register for any of these events coming up. But yeah, so I shared the event evaluation in the link as well, but here's the QR code just in case you didn't get that yet. But yeah, thank you again, everybody, so much for joining this. And please take some time to fill out the event evaluation. Again, this is going to be your ticket to enter into our door prizes. So if you attended all 3 sessions this week, awesome. You are in the lead and you're in good standing to get into tier 3 basically. So, but yeah, thank y'all so much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I will be seeing you in a few minutes if you're planning to join the social, which I really hope that you do. But yeah, thanks so much, and we'll see you pretty soon, or if not, I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, and please take care of yourselves. Yeah,
Bye,
thank
everybody.
you.